it's not the Wild West. Just because someone breaks in doesn't mean that it's open season on that intruder.
Yes, it does. That's exactly what it means. If someone makes a choice to break into your home, they do that with the understanding that it might be their last day on Earth. Welcome to the channel. If you could, please hit that like button. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. Today's video is about the Lindsay, Ontario man charged for assaulting a home intruder. The CBC had a former Crown prosecutor on to discuss it, and it's going to anger you.
Let's get some more legal analysis. We turn to our next guest, Balfour Durr, who is a criminal defense lawyer. He's also a former Crown prosecutor, and he's joining us tonight from Calgary. Balfour, thank you so much for making time for us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I wonder if we could begin, sir, by just getting your initial reaction to this story and the fact that both parties involved are facing charges.
Well, first of all, it's not inconceivable that could happen, that both sides could face charges. But my reaction is I need to know more. I need to know more of the facts because self-defense, while it exists in the criminal code, is the key is reasonableness. Whether let's say the homeowner here reasonably apprehended, a threat of force to him or herself or someone else from the intruder, whether the force they used in response was reasonable. So it's a really fact-specific type of defense.
Of course, they have to investigate everything. The full story needs to be understood. But as we get through this video, all common sense and logic goes out the window with this guy. I know he's just explaining the law, but the issue I have with him is he actually agrees with it.
I hear that. And at the same time, there is this very visceral reaction that you're hearing from people. We've heard the Ontario Premier talk about it today. We even had the leader of the Federal Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, talking in a different issue, but about acts of criminality and criminals getting away with it and that we're soft on crime. I mean, what is your sense of that argument that people feel they need to take the law into their own hands?
Well, with the greatest respect to Premier Ford, I don't agree with this blanket comment that he's made that just because someone's broken into your house, you're going to do everything you can, or you should be entitled to do whatever you can. It's not the Wild West. Just because someone breaks in doesn't mean that it's open season on that intruder. There's so many factors that the criminal code says needs to be considered to make a decision whether self-defense exists or not. There's any number of things. It's what force is threatened. Did the intruder have a weapon? Mm-hmm. The size disparity, age. There's all kinds of things like that. History between the parties. What the homeowner did towards the intruder. So if someone comes in with a 2x4, you don't get to shoot them.
The reason people are breaking into homes is because it's not the Wild West here. We're soft on crime, and these people know it. They can break into a home, get assaulted by the homeowner, and then sue them. That is insane. It is absolutely open season to anyone that breaks into my home, and I'm willing to go to jail over it.
At least if they're not doing anything with the 2x4. And maybe you get to shoot them once in the leg. You don't get to shoot them 4 times in the leg and once in the back. It's really depending on what's happened all the way along. But for the Premier to say, you can do whatever you want, or you should be able to do whatever you want, I don't agree. Because as I said, it's not the Wild West and it's not open season on intruders.
Now, if this former Crown prosecutor, or even a police officer for that matter, were to defend themselves exactly the same way as this Lindsay, Ontario man did, they would not have been charged. And that's why they just don't care. The rules aren't for them.
Absolutely. And I just want to make clear for everyone at home, no one here is advocating for any kind of vigilantism. It's a matter of understanding the law and in an instance where it's not clear cut. So how does one, and I hear all those factors that you're bringing up, the various variables about what was the relationship and what was the kind of weaponry and how much. So let's go through a scenario. Let's say, Balfour, I break into your home and I have a knife and I want to steal something. So what is a reasonable degree of force you can use to prevent me from carrying out this act of criminality in your home?
Sure. And it would depend, of course, what you're doing with the knife. If you're standing back grabbing something and just holding the knife. That's a completely different scenario than if you come at me with the knife.
The absolute stupidity of this conversation is amazing. Let's analyze the situation. Being woken up at 2 a.m. to a home intruder with a knife, I don't even think it's humanly possible to do that. Confusion, like adrenaline, fear, all this won't allow you to properly assess the situation. You'll either be hiding, frozen in fear, or fighting for your life.
Because if I perceive that you're going to use lethal force against me, I can respond in kind. And one thing that your viewers should understand that's in favor of, for instance, the homeowner, is that there's a lot of leeway given in the self-defense provision in the criminal code. And the legal expression that we use is that the force used to defend a person is not weighed to a nicety. In other words, you don't have to say, okay, look, they're coming at me with a knife. If I do exactly this, I could maybe repel the knife attack without getting hurt. That's not what is required. A person is entitled to react and react quickly. It's just whether in the circumstances, given that latitude, we could say that falls in the realm of reason.
The realm of reason is that if anyone, for any reason, breaks into a home, they have decided to gamble with their life. They do that with the understanding that they may not walk out of that home. And this horrible excuse for a man likely made his living defending people just like that.
And as you said off the top, you need more information about this case. But based on what you know so far, Balfour, is there a possibility that the homeowner or the resident of that home will not actually face charges and the charges could get dropped?
I mean, that's always the possibility. Once the prosecution looks at the case, the facts that they have, they may come to the legal opinion that there's no hope of conviction and the charge could be dismissed. They'll make a legal assessment of that. It's, I guess, yet to be seen. But as we said at the outset, it's not inconceivable that, the intruder breaks in and we don't know what the weapon is that he's charged with. Is it a 2x4? Because anything can be used as a weapon. You could take a pencil. It's a pencil for writing, but if you stab somebody with it, it's a weapon. So it depends on what the weapon is. Was it a gun, for instance? That ups the ante.
The legal opinion that there's no hope for conviction, and that is really what these prosecutors care about. It's a win, a notch in their belt. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. It's about a win. It's about money. It's about them. I'm going to end the video here, and again, ask you to hit that like button. It helps out the video so much, and if you enjoyed, drop a comment below and consider subscribing. I put out a new video every single day. That's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one.